There could be earthquakes, there could be tsunamis, there could be windstorms, there could be hurricanes, there could be wildfires, there could be power failures. These are just some of the emergency situations that could happen at any time here in British Columbia. So if a major emergency happens, then the emergency officials may be busy and they may not be able to respond to us right away. In fact, it could be that major functions like grocery stores could be closed for some period of time. So we need to be prepared to be on our own for 3, maybe more realistically, 7 days. So therefore, we have to be prepared to look after ourselves until help arrives. Now, there are a few easy to remember steps to help you prepare to be prepared. Know the hazards in your area. Assess and decide if you're at risk of being affected by these hazards. And if you are, then add the hazard to your plan and prepare to deal with it should it happen. Prepare an emergency kit with the things you'll need. Everyone should purchase and set aside 7 days worth of food and water and 2 weeks of prescription medication, in addition to some basic comfort items. Your best protection in any emergency is knowing what you're going to do when it happens. Developing a plan ahead of time so you and your family know what to do. This will save confusion, distress, and time during the first few minutes when key decisions need to be made. Get to know who your neighbors are. Develop a support network so that someone close by knows who you are, where you are, and how to contact you. So, now that you know the steps, let's take a closer look at each one in detail so that you can be properly prepared. Know the hazards and the risks. According to emergency officials, there are 57 known hazards in British Columbia. However, many of them are specific to certain areas and therefore carry a very low risk of actually occurring. For example, a tsunami warning exists on the west coast of BC. If you live in a low-lying area close to the water, your risk is high. If your home is high atop a mountain or in the interior, hundreds of miles from the ocean, then your risk of being affected by a tsunami is low. So it's important to determine for yourself if the risk is high enough to do something about it or not. While there's little we can do about whether or not we'll be hit by an earthquake or a winter storm, we can reduce the impact on ourselves if we take a few precautions. Your first is to hazard-proof your home. If you live in an earthquake zone, move or secure objects that could topple over and hit you or start a fire. If you live in an area prone to snowstorms, make sure you have a shovel, an ice melting solution, and some warm outdoor clothing. Or set up a contract in advance with a company for snow removal. It's all about knowing what to expect and thinking through what you'll need to do to reduce the impact if the worst-case scenario were to happen. Since emergencies occur in various forms and intensities, and quite often without warning, everyone needs to prepare a kit ahead of time stocked with supplies to sustain ourselves and our family. An emergency kit has 3 basic components: food, water, and material goods. Depending on how many people are in your household, you might find your kit growing to a formidable size. So suggested storage options include a suitcase or a clean garbage container on wheels. Food. Since your emergency kit will likely be stored for a long time, you need to pack food that's non-perishable and requires no cooking or added water. Include such items as canned beans, tins of stew or pasta, canned fish, crackers, energy bars, canned fruit or vegetables. High-energy spreads, like honey, peanut butter, syrup, and jam, are great additions. And keep in mind any food allergies or medical conditions like diabetes, and plan ahead for substitutes. Most people can survive for extended periods of time without food, but not so for water. Plan for a minimum of 2 liters of drinking water per day per person. Plan for an additional 2 liters per day per person for food preparation, for dish, and for hand washing. So multiply 4 liters of water a day times the number of people in your home, then multiply that by at least 3 for 3 days' supply. Consider alternate sources of water for use in washing. Places like your toilet tank, hot water heater, ice cube trays can yield several gallons of usable water. Of course, what good is canned food without a can opener? There's a lot more to an emergency kit than just food and water, so here are some suggestions of what an emergency kit can contain. A manual can opener, dishes and cutlery, a flashlight and extra batteries, matches and candles stored in a waterproof container, a wind-up or a battery-powered radio, a first aid kit, toilet tissue, blankets or sleeping bags, a whistle, a pair of spare glasses, spare shoes, and instead of throwing out that old set of clothes, consider packing them as your kit as spares. Identify any special needs that you need to address, things that are unique to you. Don't forget to include photocopies of important documents like your passport, insurance policies, bank account information, family contact details, your last will and testament. How about including a photo of you and your family? A 2-week supply of medications is highly recommended. Replace with fresh medicine once a year. And how about something to help pass the time? A deck of playing cards, a game, or maybe a puzzle. Check your kit annually and replenish it with fresh cans, fresh water, and medicine. Set aside an envelope with a small amount of cash and leave that in your kit in case banking machines aren't working. Also include coins in your envelope to use payphones. And how about some pet food for Fido or for Kitty? And they'll also need some water, so include extra quantities for them. Another great idea is to make a smaller, scaled-down version of your emergency kit for your car or for your office. Add an extra bottle of water, an energy bar, and a few candies that can provide a much-needed boost if you're stranded at work or in your car or to have to leave your house in a hurry without time to pack. Consider all members of your family when building your grab-and-go bag. Another good idea is to make photocopies of insurance papers, your personal contact list, and other important documents in case you have to leave your home quickly.